Hey, how you doing? What's this about? This.
This is a message from Jehovah God. You know, this is what the Bible teaches you.
As far as what?
What? Just, for example, okay, what do you know about the Bible? What the Bible? Do you read the Bible?
Yeah, I read the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, you know, what have you learned about the Bible?
What have I learned about the Bible? I learned that the Bible makes a clear distinction in regards to various ethnic identities.
Okay.
And that helps with pinpointing prophecy, you know, on looking at, you know, what nations and what groups of people to identify what particular points, I guess, in the Bible talks about as far as prophecy. Right. But one thing I found peculiar is trying to identify who African Americans are in America. You know, I mean, a lot of times, you know, we're not taught in school who we are as a people and where we come from. You know, do you know where African Americans come from? You know, like our history.
Well, you know, I've read. That's what I've read.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in school, geography,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they give us the background, you know, of where, you know, the Africans came from, for example, where the Hispanics, Mexicans, you know. Because I'm from Panama.
Panama,
Right?
okay.
And Panama is like a melting pot.
Yeah.
It's like New York.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got, in Panama, we have people from China, from Jamaica, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Cuba.
But you're indigenous from Panama, right? Indigenous to Panama?
Yes.
So do you know what tribes of people were there before colonialism?
Yes. For example, there's a small island called San Blas Island. And they're Indians. Okay? But they're also Indians up in the mountains in the border with Costa Rica. And they're called Chicopee. They're not Chicopee, Chicores. You know? There are different Indian
tribes, right?
Tribes from the ones in the San Blas Islands.
Now, what's interesting is, you know, a lot of those tribes, they had a distinct culture, you know, that they had, and a way of life that they went about things. Do you think that colonialism brought Christianity there? And if so, what was the incentive for the natives to convert to Christianity as opposed to keeping their indigenous culture?
Well, I'll tell you what, those tribes are not Christians. They still have their own culture. And they still got their own beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you, because my wife's mom, she was an Indian.
Yeah.
You know, from San Blas Island. Because she was adopted when she was a kid.
She was young,
And she was brought into Panama City. Where it's a big city.
Yeah.
And she was raised by, I think one was Irish. The wife was Irish, and the husband, I think, was American.
Oh, okay.
So again, you know, that's a mixture of
that would be the influence on them. Right. And the reason why I'm asking that is that, do you believe that does Jehovah Witness, do they identify as Christians? I'm not even sure anymore. Do they identify as Christians?
We are Christians because, you know, we don't believe in race. You know, we're all one. You know, as you see, you know. Yeah. I see as my brother.
Yeah. I see as my brother too.
You know
but here's the thing. If we're all one, is that only acknowledged between us? Because every day going outside, I get stereotyped, right? There's racism, right? There's oppression. So how do I overcome that by just telling people we're all one as in some kind of ecumenical doctrine when it's not identified by everybody as us all being one? I mean, there's a clear distinction in regards to different ethnic groups, and there's a hierarchy.
Right.
You know, so how do we overcome that? Does the Jehovah's Witnesses give us an answer for dealing with that, as opposed to just, you know, a religious thing? Like, okay, we're all one, we're brothers, but that's not how I live my life every day, you know.
Right.
You know, I go on a job interview, I don't get the job because of the color of my skin, but I have the credentials.
Exactly.
I go into a store and get followed around every day, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, does this actually give me an answer on how I can address systematic racism and stereotyping towards me as a person, so then I can get the message of ecumenism, like we're all one, by actually changing certain things in society so that way it can reflect what it is that I'm learning? Is that possible?
Well, you know, what I try to do, you know, is try to follow the Bible principles. Okay? And we don't teach people about racism and whatever. We just follow what the Bible says, and then we try to apply it to our lives.
Is the Bible racist?
It's not racist,
So,
because Jesus Christ was not racist.
Well, if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, the Most High says that he chose the children of Israel to be high above all other peoples. When you look into the works of Paul in the book of Romans, he said it's to the Jew first and then to the Greek. I mean, you see that there's a clear distinction in regards to priority in regards to either certain peoples or certain individuals. So why would the text actually mention these things? Like, the Most High saying that Jacob he loved and Esau he hated. It's mentioning things. It's saying that in Psalm chapter 83 that the nations conspire against the children of Israel, and that the Most High does not favor them as opposed to his own children, that he has made his covenant with. So there is a clear distinction that the Most High has some preference for his people as opposed to just all the nations of the earth. Because if you go to Romans chapter 3, he says, what good is it to be a Jew, much in every way that the oracles of Yah have been given to the Jews. And that is what makes them distinct. And when you go to Romans chapter 11, it picks up to say that the jealousy that the Most High initiated towards the Gentiles was there so that way he can bring his people in. And the Gentiles will be the wild olive branch should be within into the plant. So the reason why I'm saying this is because even in the text, there's a clear distinction in regards to peoples. The book of Nehemiah, when they came back from captivity, they had foreign wives. He was like, y'all got to get rid of these wives. Yeah, so there's a clear distinction in there in regards to ethnicity as well. Right,
but see, figure out one thing though.
Sure.
When Jesus Christ died, they all assembled in one room per se, right?
Yeah.
And then what they call Pentecost. Jehovah, the Holy Spirit came down and went up in the part where they all assembled, men and women assembled in one place. Okay, and they were all given the Holy Spirit to go out and preach.
Yeah.
Okay, in different languages. Okay. Now, at that time, Jehovah God, he broke because since the Jews and the Israelites, Jehovah's people per se, were not following his principles, his rules. Jehovah said, hey, you're not my people anymore.
So he casted away the Jews.
Yes, and then he gave the spiritual nation, right, per se, are the ones who follow his principles.
Well, I have a question now, and maybe it might be me. Okay. I have a archive of Watchtower articles. It's been a while since I read them, and I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? So I'm humble, honest enough to know that. Right. At least I'm making an effort to read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But I also study things outside of it as well. But in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 8, it says something very interesting. It says that if a prophet prophesies something in the name of the Most High and it doesn't come to pass, then that's not a prophet of Yah. So the Watchtower had made several prophecies about the end of times that never came to pass.
Right.
And you know about that.
Yes.
So how do you address that? Like, how am I supposed to trust, the Watchtower as being a voice to the people today on behalf of Jehovah God if they've made false prophecies in the text that they're using to justify their religious disposition is saying that if you give a false prophet, then number one, you're supposed to be put to death. You can't go around bearing false witness on behalf of Yah. Because prophets have been put to death, like the prophets of Baal against Elijah. They got put to death because they were not speaking on behalf of Yah, and they was encouraging the worship of idols. So it's hard for me to trust the Watchtower when they've made false prophecies. Like, for example, you heard September 23rd, the world's supposed to end. People were saying that, right? I think it was, what's his name, David Meade or something like that. And the rapture was supposed to happen. Do you believe in a rapture? Do you believe there's going to be a rapture? Like, do you think, like, because, Christians who teach dispensationalism say that we're going to be raptured out of here and stuff like that.
It's going to be something called Armageddon.
A war. So you believe there's going to be a war coming that's going to...
Yeah, see, that's the perception or maybe the interpretation due to movies and, whatever is available.
Like Left Behind and stuff like that. Yeah.
But really Armageddon is the name of a place. Okay? In the Bible, that word only appears once. Bible. Okay, and it means mountain high.
Mountain high.
Okay, doesn't mean a war.
Yeah.
But Armageddon. Again, a Jehovah's Day will come. And we can see the signs already.
Every day, yeah, you can see it.
You know what I'm saying? But
so can you answer that question for me? I think you took your tablet out to respond to that.
I want to go back.
I would like to know that.
Yes, I want to go back to because you mentioned something about, we make false prophecies.
Yeah.
And what it is, if you really study, go way back and study all different religions, they all started, they got a starting point, right?
Yeah. Origin.
But,
like Charles Taze Russell, responsible for initiating the Watchtower.
Exactly.
That came from William Miller in regards to the millennials.
Way back, when they started to study the Bible, there was, we were called students of the Bible. So the small group of people, they got together and they started studying the Bible, because whoever were what were saying before, they didn't believe what they were saying. Yeah. Because they didn't agree.
Yes.
Okay. So they started to study the Bible in context.
Yeah.
Okay. And as they refine it more and more, okay, they learn, the interpretation of the scriptures. And we're still learning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't know all the answers.
Nobody.
Now, as they started to learn and study the scriptures, they thought that the world was going to end in 1914.
Yeah, and even before that, 1844, the world was supposed to end. That was a great disappointment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But if you go back to history, when did the world start?
The world didn't end, though.
No, exactly.
Oh, okay.
So those that were studying, in that time, they thought it was going to be over by 1914, but it didn't stop.
So why would they publish that?
Because they interpreted,
wrong.
Wrong, exactly.
But they did that a couple times.
Once.
Would you not be sketchy, even if it's one time? Right. Would you not be skeptical of an entity that has made a false prophet? Because during that time in 1914, people sold their homes.
Right.
People left their jobs. They took their kids out of school. And they sitting here waiting for the world to end, and it doesn't end. Right. Why would you even return to an entity that made a huge blunder like that, and it caused a lot of people to lose
but they went back, and they said, hey, we made a mistake.
That's not just a small mistake.
Well, yeah,
that's a big mistake. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
At that level, they're starting to say, okay, we need to study more of the scriptures to get, the real answers. And as years went by, they got, not the answers, but they got some answers to the scriptures.
So, what inspired you to join the Jehovah's Witnesses? Like, what was it that inspired you, as opposed to studying your indigenous culture in Panama? Okay. Do you see those people as being lost if they don't have Jehovah God's word and they're not reading the Watchtower editorials? Do you believe that there are lost people? Do you believe that?
I don't think they're lost.
So they don't need this then? Then you don't need it.
No, I didn't say they don't need it. I said they're not lost. But, they need some guidance. For example, if you go back to the islands where my wife's mom was born, they have Christians up there now. Okay? They start studying the Bible.
But they wasn't always there.
Right. But, the same way, they did, give an example. Christopher Columbus came to America to discover America.
Supposedly.
Right, that's what history says.
That's what history says,
exactly.
But yeah.
And with that, they brought slavery in.
Yeah. Well, the Taino Indians that was on the island of Hispaniola that they discovered, they actually took 200 of them back to the Iberian Peninsula and made them slaves.
Yeah.
Okay, and that further colonialists came with missionaries, and they impose their religion on those people.
Right.
So that way they can do some form of trickle-down economics, and they can take the resources they have, convert them to Christianity, and be able to subjugate the masses. So I'm just saying, I'm very leery and skeptical of any religion that has done harm to the indigenous people who are utilizing it for a means of edification, when we see this stratification in regards to society, where there's an upper echelon of people that use this religion and it benefits them, but everybody else that's lower down on the totem pole, the religion is not getting them anywhere. Right? Like, for example, and I'll say this, I'm sorry, when we go to Jehovah's Witnesses, you have the Council of Elders, right? In Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, but
right?
It's
the apostles, right?
It's called a governing body.
The governing body are considered to be apostles, correct?
No, yes, the governing body.
Okay. So the governing body. So what is the people in the governing body? Do any of them reflect you? Meaning that, do they have your ethnic background? Because you can look this up. It'll show you who the board members are. Do they reflect you?
I know who they are.
Do they reflect you? Meaning your ethnic background. Do they reflect you?
They reflect me spiritually.
Spiritually, but physically, your phenotype, your skin complexion, your continuity to your ancestors. No. So the reason why I say this is because if you have even in America, if you have any kind of governing body system that does not reflect you, you should be leery of that, because the policies, the legislation, everything that they pass in regards to the establishment of that religious institution organization is going to reflect the people who are governing it, and not the people that's out here on the street going 2 by 2 doing this because they see something in the book of Acts that tells them that if you go 2 by 2 to house, door to door, this is the way to get into the kingdom. But these people are not doing that. So every day when you stand out here, your lives are on the line. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody can be mad and say, well, I hate religion, and attack you. I mean, so what I'm saying is the governing body does not reflect you. What reflects you is your indigenous peoples and the land that you came from, because they had a culture and a connection to their ancestors that kept them who they are today, because the culture was created to protect them. And when outside influences come and they allow them in and they convert them and they lose their identity, now they're going to be identifying with their oppressor and not with their own ancestors, and it creates a problem. So I feel that, and this is just my opinion, that this is what religion does to people, and this is why we should be very conscious of how things are organized, not the principles. I agree, good principles, but how it's structured and organized. The provenance, its origin, how it's structured and organized, how it's implemented, and even excusing false prophecies. I mean, that's a big issue for me. So, can I have one of these so I can read it?
Yes.
Because I still like to learn. I'm open to learn. I would love to do a Bible study, right? Because every time I try to set one up, nobody comes to my house. I don't know why. You will come?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. I would love that. So you can go more in depth. So that way, maybe, because I'm saying, I don't know everything. Okay. I don't even know all the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to learn, but I have a lot of questions, because as a youth, this is what we would like people just to answer, just practical things, you know, and to inspire us as to why we should read the Bible more, you know. Prophecies, is the world going to end? Is the earth going to be here forever, you know, or is there going to be a rapture? I mean, all these questions are important, you know, and even the name of Jehovah, you know, like, is that a transliteration of the Hebrew, or where did that name Jehovah come from, since there was no J in the 15th century, etc.? Like, I have questions like that. So if you're prepared to answer these questions, I would love to invite you over. If you want something to eat, I'll make you a lunch. I'll make you a breakfast, dinner, because I'm serious. This is a life-altering decision to make, to commit to something that can impact you even after you die. Yes. You know, I would love to be part of the 144,000, you know, but I would have to be a Jew for that, because in the book of Revelation, chapter 7, it says specifically that 12,000 out of every tribe of Israel. I don't know. Am I Israelite? Is that possible? Spiritually, could I physically be an Israelite by the flesh? Is that possible? Being a black man in America?
Yeah.
Oh, I can? I rarely hear this answer. Do you believe that there could be some black Jews or Israelites here in America?
How do you know that Jesus Christ is not black?
Oh, yes. Huh? My man, I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. But the reason why I say that is because that also helps us to identify prophecy. So if there are people in America who are real Israelites, certain prophecies do pertain to them as well as the spiritual Israel that you say, right? Okay. So let me give you my information.
Yeah, where do you live at?
I'm over there near Marietta. Yeah. See, I'm not around these parts of town, but
I know, because I live in Gainesville.
Wow. Yes. And so you come all the way here from Gainesville to do this?
Yeah. Let me answer your question first.
Sure.
Because you asked me what caused me to change.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was raised as a Catholic.
What?
Okay.
Wow.
For 18 years, my whole family is Catholic.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one that's Jehovah's Witness.
Wow.
And the reason, you know, they put me in a private school, which was ran by priests.
Wow.
And Franciscan sisters.
Wow.
Okay. And I'll tell you a quick story.
Uh-oh.
Okay? This is a quick story. This is a true story.
Okay.
Okay. My wife and I went to the same school. Okay, we married 45 years. And it was a mixed school, you know.
Yeah.
And we had young priests as teachers.
Yeah, young priests as teachers?
Yes, and we had some young sisters, nuns, as teachers too. And there were stories going on in high school. That the priest was going around with these young
boys and girls. Yeah,
and I didn't believe it. My wife told me one of her close friends was shacking up with a priest.
What?
And
one of her close friends was shacking up with the priest.
And I didn't believe that.
Wow.
Okay.
Seeing is believing, right?
Me, I was an altar boy. Okay?
You was an altar boy?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
That means you might have been next on the line.
And I was right there with the priest, serving mass and doing this.
Yeah.
And then when I really saw with my own eyes, I just, disappointed, in them and who they were and who they represented.
Have you heard of the doctrine of discovery?
No.
It's a papal bull that was put out by the Roman Catholic Church that gave the colonialists justification for subjugating the peoples over here by identifying them as being savages and Christian and godless people. And that gave the colonialists justification to come over here and subjugate the masses and treat them the way that they did. And I say that because when you study the history of any organization, you always got to look to see the achievements and the failures and the motives behind why they do certain things. So if you can see that they're willing to create a whole papal bull to entitle colonialists to come over here and take over the lands of the indigenous peoples, then why would they not be doing any kind of debaucherous things behind closed doors? There's nothing to heal that. There's nothing to cure that. Yeah, they're still doing it. Still doing it. But that's great. So last question, because I have to jump in over. So what was the epiphany that you received that told you, man, you know what? I should join Jehovah's Witnesses, man. I should.
Because my wife's family is Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, so your family is not, but her family is.
Right.
Ah, okay.
And I was trying, and we were always, discussing
different things, right?
Different
things,
And I'm like, okay, So one day, my father-in-law, he put me down, and he never forced me to anything. He never pushed it down. He just showed me the Bible.
Yeah.
Scriptures showed me.
So he walks you through it.
Right. And then I started reading the Bible because in school, the priest, read the Bible in Latin.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what
exactly
it was saying.
Exactly. Right? So he could have been telling you anything.
Exactly. So, I started reading the Bible and, then I started asking questions in school. And then I was the bad boy.
Just because you opened your mouth.
Because I wanted to know.
Exactly. So
and some people give me an answer.
Some people may see me as that too, because like I came to you, I'm just asking genuine questions because I want to learn. I just want to know where I fit in an entire scheme of things. Because if Jehovah is God of all the earth and we're supposed to be His witnesses in the earth, I need to know what is my place, and I need to know if these things can solve societal issues that I face every day. If I just open the Bible and read it every day, just to empower my spirit, man, I'm still going to face issues in life.
Yeah.
If I lose my job, can I go to the Bible and get a job? Is that possible?
Give you.
If the police shoot me in the street, can the Bible tell me how to stop that? That's what I'm talking about. Right. Those things. I just want to know how Jehovah can intervene on behalf of people of color. You, me, this young lady here, and be able to do something on our behalf so that way we won't feel like we're being oppressed. Do we have to just accept oppression? Is that one of the things that He wants for His people, to accept oppression and persecution? Are we supposed to endure that? I mean, I'm asking. I'm not sure.
No. But it would take more time than this discussion.
Yeah, that's true.
To talk.
To go in depth. I feel you. Aborigines that lived there. And a lot of times what happened was when the colonials came over here, they give them the Spanish names because your ancestors did not have that name.
Right.
They would look at certain characteristics that identified them, and that they would convert their names over to reflect that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, cool.
My roots all the way back
to where?
Spain.
Your roots to Spain? On your father's side or your mother's side?
My father's side.
Where do your mother's side come from? Do you know? Colombia. And she's a native?
She's black Colombian, yes.
She's a black Colombian. Like darker than me?
Darker than you.
That's what's up, man. Do you go back frequently to Panama?
Yeah, we're going to go next year.
That's good. Okay. So yeah, let me. I get. Hold on. Let me see if my Uber's here.
Okay.